Hello boys and girls, I am the Guide Knight and welcome to part 3 of my Breakout tutorial. We are going to talk about some relatively important parts of the game. For instance, we're going to make the bow speed configurable. In this part, we're also going to check if when actually we start, because right now when we start the game, the bow just starts and maybe that's not very convenient for us, right? And also you see that there is no game over. So if the ball drops below the floor, we actually continue and it's very pointless to continue. So we will add a game over detection here. And in the end, we're going to make the length of the player configurable. So we can make it bigger and maybe easier for us to play. And we can also make it smaller. So this is what we're going to do. If we have time, we're also going to talk about the direction the bow bounces towards. Right now, I demonstrated the last video, but basically, oops, that's what I mean. Sometimes you're not ready. So basically, the bow just goes up and down with the same direction, except if it hits the corners, because we have a slight oval of our player, and due to the shape of the oval, basically, it changes the direction, but not really due to the location of where it hits the ball. So we're gonna do that maybe this video or the next video. Okay, so before we continue, let's talk about some project changes I did to make the game look a little bit better. I noticed that there was small jitter and I didn't like that, so I tried to see what I can do about it to fix it. I'm using an NVIDIA graphics card, so let's see if you are also using NVIDIA, maybe this will help you. Otherwise, I don't know, maybe there's another solution for AMD or something. So you go to project settings, and then you can basically go to rendering, and then quality. And then in 2D, I just clicked on the both checkboxes, use NVIDIA rect flicker workaround and use pixel snap. I don't think the second one is needed. It just means that if there are like intermediate pixels in the graphics, it will just snap to the closest pixel, I think. But maybe this one will help us. So if I run the game again, it should look a little bit smoother. At least to me, it looks better. And I don't see that jitter anymore. So there you have that. Additionally, I would like to have the window borderless because I kind of like it. So you can do that, display window, and then there is the borderless checkbox. You can check it. And then if you run the game again, F5, you see that there is no border around the window and it looks a little bit better. You can stop the game by clicking F8 or the stop button here in the top right, basically. You can click F8 and there you go. So now that this is out of the way, let us make the speed of the ball configurable, right? Because right now, if we play the game, it's always the same speed. Just click on in your world on your bow and the script icon here, or alternatively you can just click to the script tab here and find the bow GD script somewhere. So basically in the bow GD script, this is the speed. And how do we make it configurable? It's very easy. You can just go there and make export and type export in front of the variable. This will actually make it so that it is in our world. If we click on the bow, we will see a speed variable in the inspector. And if we want to make the bow like run very slow, for instance, with 200 speed, then we can save the game and we can click F5. And right now we have a very small bow. Click F8 to close. And we can also make it like faster with 700 speed or whatever. Then F5. And it's actually running a lot faster, but our player is sometimes maybe not being able to catch up. Anyhow, let's close the game. You can do that with the player speed if you want to. Like you can make the acceleration, export the acceleration, and then basically right now we have like a very basic movement of the player. We can add actual acceleration and maximum speed, but we won't be doing that right now because I don't think this is necessary for this small game. You can do that, of course. If you want me to do that and show you how it's done, you can leave me a comment and I'll do it whenever I can. So basically, if we make the acceleration exported, we can also change that in the player script here, make it, let's say, very fast, and let's reset the bow. Basically, if we reset the speed, it will reset to whatever is set in the script. So we can reset the bow script, but we can make our player run faster. And this is a bit easy, a bit trickier, right? Like the friction takes a longer time to stop. So we have to be a bit more precise. Anyhow, another thing I would like to show you or tell you about is good coding practice. I prefer to have my exported variables on top. This is basically public, so to say, to the world. And the private, for the script, the script private variables, or I would like it to have them below, like the non-exported ones and stuff like that. Like it's a nice grouping. If I have more exported, it will be easier also to read. Yeah, maybe have some space between the two. All right. So basically now we would like to check if the bow is out of the bounds of the... Well, first let me make the bow actually start when we click the fire button, like we had the fire button. Maybe the fire button we can change to actual fire if we have some munitions or something in the future. But for now we will use the fire button to actually just start the game. So in the bow script, in the bow script, you go to the bow script, we will define a variable, let's say is running, and it will be false. So basically in the physics process, if we basically let's just check if we have, if there is basically, if it's not running, so we just return, right? Not is running, we return. So if we just start it now, the bow will just stay there indefinitely, right? So if we press fire, so we, like if input dot is action pressed, or just pressed, we would like to use the just pressed, like, because it's only once, right? We don't want to like hold fire and do a lot of crazy stuff. So we just say is running equals true. So if we now start the game, basically if I press the spacebar, nothing will happen. Let's see why basically nothing happens. Let me first check if I have defined the fire key to my spacebar. Yeah, it is defined, but why is nothing happening, right? Because it comes here and says if is running first, and then it always returns, and there is no way to actually go here. So we have to put the check for the fire before the is running, because otherwise the game will never reach the state of checking if the actually fire button is pressed. So if I actually press, if I do it like that, then if I press F5 and then I press space, it should start. See, there we go. It actually works. So yeah, we have it, and we can even like change it to elif, like else if. So basically there is either that or something else. Like if neither of those is true, then it will just continue. Say like, okay, I didn't meet my requirements here, so I just continue. So how can we actually make sure that the game starts anew when we have the bow below the ground? So this means that the bow is outside of the viewable area of the player. So how can we actually do that, right? In order to do that, we will need to go to our bow, just like go to player, then bow tscn, double click, open it, then go to the 2D section. Then we will click here on the left side in the scene like window or sub window, and Control A to add a new child. And then we will actually look for visibility notifier 2D, right? If you hover here to see the tooltip, it says detects approximately when the node is visible on screen, right? So this is cool. This is something we want. So basically we will add it. And it's a rectangle. It's all right. It's roughly the shape of our bow. It's also all right. So we're just gonna save this right now and go back to script, right? Then we need to get this visibility notifier and check when it is actually visible. There are actually two ways to do that. Let me just show you both, basically, at least two that I'm aware of. Let's say it like that. So basically, let's say v1 equals then with a $sign visibility notifier 2D. It's basically the name of the notifier. We can rename it to say like bow visibility notifier. And if I rename it to bow visibility notifier, then basically when I press the $sign here, it will show me bow visibility notifier. And then the other way to do it is basically to get the visibility notifier is to use the get node function. And then basically, I think it is just using the name. Wait a second, why is it not working? Okay, so basically it is not working, and it would be nice for me to see the error message. It says here, use onReady variable v1 get node instead. So basically it says like, use this for v1. This is the recommended way, I guess, by Godot, but I'm actually missing a keyword, onReady, right? And here, this should fix it, yes. This means that this variable is initialized when the notifier is actually present, because the script runs at the first point when the script is actually added, and at the time in the scene, like the scene time, then some of the instances of the scene, like because they are like building a tree, and some of the stuff need to be added to the tree, they may be missing. So basically, maybe the script is added and started before the sprite or the visibility notifier, for instance, is actually even present in the scene. Then you cannot use it. So this one means onReady. So when this object is ready, return it to me, basically. So we're gonna use the get node one for this one. So let's call it border visibility notifier. And now how are we gonna use it? Like, let's say if we would like to like detect the game over, let's say let's create a function first called function is game over. And at first, let me just make it as simple as possible with the print statement to check if the game is over. So let's say visibility notifier is, let me first check what kind of methods they are, like, right? We can go to search help and go to visibility notifier. And then we need to look, oh, is on screen. This looks a Boolean, like something or exactly what we need, right? If true, the bounding rectangle is on the screen. So we just need to check if the rectangle is on screen. So basically we go here and check if it's on screen. And then basically we can check, say like, if this is on screen, print visible, else print not visible. Let me see if this works. So, doesn't work. Do you know why? Right, you guessed it, right? I did not call the function. I created it, but I actually never did call it, because this is automatically called by the Godot engine, the physics process function, but this right now is a custom function, and the Godot engine does not know anything about it. So in order for me to actually call it, I need to make a reference in a known function that is being called by the engine. So let's try again. Okay, we have a lot of visible. Let's see if we're gonna go invisible. All right, we have invisible as well. And we see like a lot of messages because this is called like 60 times per second. So basically it starts visible. This is what we want, right? And then it ends as invisible. So basically this means that we can directly check and return this thing, right? If it is on screen, or let me create a variable, because maybe for some reason it bounces off something and it can go back in, and then the game over is suddenly not game over, and that's a bit weird. So let's just create a variable, is game over, call it false, and we can just set the like if not game over. So if the game over is not true, this means that if the game over is true, we won't change it anywhere. But then if the game over is not true and not bow visibility notifier is on screen, so this means that the game over is false, so we are still playing the game, and the visibility notifier is not on screen, so we would like to have a game over, right? Is game over. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Maybe I should pick a different name, like without this game over, just like game over. Like if, because it duplicates with the method name, and let's not have that many confusions. Game over equals true, right? We can just say game over equals that, but let's make it simple. Let's keep it simple, right? So now we check for the is game over. We can actually then make sure that if this is game over, we would reset our game, right? There are several different ways we can do that, but we're just going to grab the level and reload it and put it back in. So we can do that in a very easy way. We define a variable that holds the world. So let's do it in our bow for now. Like maybe we're going to change it in the future, but let's go with world and then equals something, right? We basically need the location of this world. So it's basically resources, worlds, and then world ESCN. ESCN. So basically this is one way to do it. The easier way is to just go to the file stream, like the file stream, click on the word, and then drag and drop it somewhere in your script. It will give you exactly the location of the world. So if you were to define it like that, we just come and define the world. So basically then we can we can even oversimplify that, right? We don't need the game over variable at all, and we can rename this to check if game over. Check if game over. And maybe not the best name, but basically we can say, okay, if the bow is not visible anymore on the screen, then we are printing game over, and then we will change the root scene. For now, just change the root scene whenever the bow goes out of bounds. So basically get tree. This gives you the current main tree, and then you can use the change scene method, and then you can either place the world scene here directly, or we can use our world scene variable here. So let me check. If basically now the ball goes out of the bounds, we will restart the level. So let's check. Okay, we're waiting. Bam, there you go. You can start again, right? And this is how you can restart the game, and you see like the game over here several times. That's all right for now. Okay, so I guess, guys, this is it for this part. I could not actually go through all the parts I wanted. I could not like make the player longer and show you how to do it, but we will talk about that in the next section. As I said, I don't want to make the videos too long, and I also like to explain what I'm doing and go a little bit slower maybe, so that you can keep up. And if you have any questions or comments, please ask me. I'll be glad to answer. if I can, of course, because this is a learn along tutorial. And I already did some deviations from my reference one, and I think I will also continue further on from my reference project where I did some things quite badly. So yeah, there you go, guys. Have a great day, evening, or morning, or whatever you're having. And if you're eating something, let it be tasty. And that's it from me, guys. See you next time. Bye bye.